Good morning. For those of you who don't know, I'm Kristofer. This is one of our daily offerings of St. Thomas Epiphanes' spiritual sustenance. Reflections offered by the clergy of St. Thomas Epiphany during these challenging times, just trying to connect with folks. I hope that you're doing okay in the midst of all of the challenges that we face right now as COVID-19 spreads around the world and is really evoking lots of fear and anxiety in folks. I hope that you're doing okay. I am praying for you, and please pray for me. Lots of challenges that we're facing. Our lives have been interrupted in significant ways. I know I went to bed last night feeling pretty overwhelmed and pretty exhausted. It was a long day, and I needed good rest. And this morning, my sleep was interrupted by, of all things, a jackhammer going in the behind the shopping center that's not far from where we live. And that jackhammer going off did not help my sleep at all. But it did get me to get up early. It's amazing the things that interrupt our lives that we make plans and then those plans really sometimes fall by the wayside as we have to adapt and make changes based on the needs that we have, that our families have, that our faith community has, our wider communities, all the different circles that we are connected with, and the world. As we experience these interruptions in our life, speaking of interruptions, hold on one second. Hey, what's up?
Me and my mom are baking cinnamon rolls, and we're gonna have a Zoom call.
Oh, cool. Are you excited?
Yeah.
Good. Well, I'm doing a quick video. I love you. Thank you for stopping in and seeing me. I'll be up in a little bit, okay? All right, have a good time.
Bye.
Thanks, honey. I love you.
I love you.
Bye-bye. These interruptions, speaking of interruptions that we have, they're hard. They're hard. I mean, that interruption obviously was not hard. That was nice and joyful and welcomed. But, and I think in the challenges that we face in life, when the plans that we have been dashed, it's hard. We have grief that comes up around that. For all those that are really painfully affected by the coronavirus now, and you might be one that's listening to this, we are praying for you in particular, for those that are sick, those who are caring for those who are sick, for their families, for those that are dying, and for those who have died. We hold all of these people in our hearts as we try to get perspective during this challenging time. And amidst of the interruptions of life, I believe that God too is interrupting our patterns and cycles, trying to help us to choose love, trying to help us choose peace, trying to help us choose hope in the midst of all the alternatives available to us, as God interrupts our lives and brings our attention back to God. There's this powerful story in both Matthew and Mark of Jesus being interrupted. He was interrupted all the time. His ministry of availability, he was just always out with the people. And he was offering a teaching, and it goes like this. While Jesus was saying these things to them, suddenly a leader of the synagogue came in and knelt before him, saying, My daughter has just died. But come and lay your hand on her, and she will live. And Jesus got up and followed him with his disciples. So he was teaching, doing his ministry, and it was interrupted, and he responded. Then, as he was responding to that crisis, suddenly a woman who had been suffering from hemorrhages for 12 years came up behind him and touched the fringe of his cloak. For she said to herself, If I only touch his cloak, I will be made well. Jesus turned, and seeing her, he said, Take heart, daughter, your faith has made you well. And instantly the woman was made well. Wow. I mean, talk about interruptions. The ways that Jesus was interrupted in that teaching, the way that that he stopped what he was doing and responded, and the way that in his response to the leader from the synagogue, this woman then interrupted, and then the way that Jesus interrupted the pain and the suffering that she was in and healed her. When Jesus finally came to the leader's house and saw the flute players and the crowd making a commotion, he said, "Go away, for the girl is not dead but sleeping." And they laughed at him. But when the crowd had been put aside, he went in and took her by the hand, and the girl got up. The girl got up. It's almost impossible to believe, to imagine that the healing that Jesus did. I'd like to believe the healing that Jesus still does in our lives. It might not take the form that we would want or that makes the most sense, but I believe that God is active in the world amidst the challenges we face, interrupting all of the pain to bring resurrection and life. The last word in this particular passage: and the report of this resurrection spread throughout that district. As the coronavirus continues to spread amidst many people's efforts to physically distance and take precautions, to listen to our leaders, to stay home, as we combat and do the little things that we can to stop the spread, what are the ways that we can spread the love and peace and hope of God during this time? Just as that report of that healing, that resurrection spread throughout the district, what if the reports of God's love and healing in our own lives spread in that same way? I think that love works in even more powerful ways. I wonder how God is going to interrupt your day today. I wonder how whatever challenges you face, God might interrupt and bring you some comfort, some strength. As we reach out to each other across whatever distances we need to keep ourselves and others safe, as we find creative ways of connecting in community. Trust that God is with you, with us all, guiding us in this time, blessing us, and keeping us. Thanks for listening. God's peace be with you.